every school district in San Diego County has the green light to reopen for in-person classes. Today, Ed Lindeman joins us from Horizon Prep Christian with details. Hey, Ed, how you doing?
Hey, I'm well, thank you. It's always nice here in Rancho Santa Fe. Yes, that is our location. We've talked a lot, as Paul alluded to, about distance learning for large schools and districts. But we in Rancho Santa Fe are opening up in-class instruction for students here at Horizon Prep. We're going to talk to the interim head of schools about how it's going, because they were doing distance learning for a week. Now everybody's here in class, and we'll talk about it straight ahead as Good Morning San Diego continues.
One of those schools reopening is Horizon Prep in Rancho Santa Fe.
Ed Lindeman is live on campus with the details. Good morning, Ed.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. And as we have noted, you know, the larger school districts that already had to have distance learning in place were not going to be able to necessarily adapt as quickly as smaller school districts. And one school in particular, which is Horizon Prep. This is a private Christian prep school, the only high school in Rancho Santa Fe, correct, which leads us to Scott McGowan. Right?
Yep.
Scott McGowan, who is the interim head of schools. Boy, and you took over in May, by the way, not in March when you were closing down.
Right.
Challenging times for educators.
Yeah, it's challenging. It's interesting for sure, but it really makes you think about and value what education is about and the whole educational process of kids in person.
Okay, so take us back. March 17th, you closed down. And now we are doing distance learning until further notice.
Right.
Then the process is, as we begin to reach the proper metrics through the county, obviously the state overseeing the county, pre-qualifying, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that several schools and districts, smaller districts, were pre-qualified to open if the metrics were met, and they did. And so you already had a pretty good plan in place here?
Right. We had actually submitted our plan. We were working on it, and the county's been really good about helping us out with fine-tuning our plan for safe reopening. And it was an opportunity that was open to everybody. We just chose to take advantage of that opportunity given our relative size.
All right. Some 230 students. They are already in here doing their in-class learning.
They are in class today.
And speaking of hitting the ground running, you were doing distance learning for the last week.
Correct.
So we're transitioning to in person or in class, but you'd already started.
Right. We have the majority of our school is moved into in person on campus learning. We do have some families that have chosen to stay with distance learning, which we're more than happy to accommodate them with that.
Was that an option that you had to offer, or you just offered it on your own?
The answer would be yes. We wanted to offer that for sure, and it was actually one of the requirements of safe reopening.
You want to give parents the option.
Correct.
And I would think that some have perhaps students or their children who have a pre-existing condition, or they're just being cautious to see how it goes. All of the above?
All of the above, and I think, you know, there's definitely high or at-risk individuals maybe in the home that aren't the students, and we want to recognize that and work with them because we want every child to have the opportunity to have the great educational experience here at Horizon Prep.
So 230 students, 1 through 12 here on this particular campus. You've also got a nearby preschool.
Right.
And you're saying maybe 15 to 20 parents have opted out just for the time being?
Yeah, that's probably a good rough approximation.
So, and you also appreciate, with whatever you've done, we need to maintain the proper protocols and safety because otherwise we get shut down.
Yeah, and it's absolutely, it's really the getting shut down is secondary. It's really focusing on the kids being safe and healthy through this entire process as well as the staff.
And so what precautions have you taken?
So we've actually had I believe it's a 12 or 14-step plan. From all things from, we've had some hand washing stations that our facilities team from Horizon Church has built from scratch, which would look fantastic, to having the cleaning supplies on hand, to really monitoring where our stable cohorts for our grades 1 through 5 are, and doing things as practicable to keep people safe and distanced.
And you've been able to obviously satisfy staff and the majority of parents.
Yes, and one of the great things that we have, we really believe that for such a time as this, Horizon Prep was built because we have such a large, sprawling campus, and we are actually able to utilize, we've got some tents on campus where we're actually going to have some outdoor learning as well, which is going to be great, taking advantage of, like you led with, the great weather that we have here in Rancho Santa Fe.
Yeah, as opposed to an educator in the Northeast as here comes September. Well, challenging times, and we certainly appreciate our visit with you. Okay, if we visit with you at 9 o'clock and we'll explore this a little further?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just, again, I want to tag on the fact that we are so blessed to have the facilities that we have. We're blessed to have, our church has been able to hold services outside, and we're actually welcoming Leland this weekend for a worship in the ranch night, Sunday night at 7 o'clock at our church. And we just love being a community outreach at this point in time.
Scott McGuyan, thank you. Take over. How'd you like to take over in May? All right, so we'll visit with you again in about another 20 minutes, and we'll explore this a little further. We've got a high school in Rancho Santa Fe that is open for business, instruction, education. You get the idea here. Back to you guys.
All right, Ed.
Sure do. Thanks, Ed.